Imagine discovering that most people spend their entire lives working hard, yet never reach the place they truly want to be, not because they lack intelligence, not because they lack talent, and not because God or fate chose to favor only a select few. According to Napoleon Hill, the real reason goes much deeper, an invisible reason that separates ordinary people from those who build wealth, influence, and extraordinary lives. After spending more than 20 years studying hundreds of the most successful men of his time, Hill uncovered something remarkable. They came from different backgrounds. They had completely different personalities. Some were born into wealth. Others grew up with almost nothing, but they all shared one powerful characteristic, a characteristic that most people never develop. Today, you're about to discover what it is, and you may realize that it's the very thing missing from your own life. Because the greatest failure isn't losing money. It isn't making mistakes. The greatest failure is going through life without knowing exactly where you're headed. And that simple truth changes everything. The invisible reason most people never succeed. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to achieve extraordinary success, while others spend their entire lives working hard, yet never reach the life they truly want? Most people assume the answer is intelligence. Others believe it's talent. Some blame luck, circumstances, or the opportunities they were or weren't given. But according to Napoleon Hill, none of those are the real reason. After spending more than 20 years studying hundreds of the most successful people of his time, Hill discovered something remarkable. These men and women came from completely different backgrounds. Some were born into wealth, while others started with almost nothing. Some had a formal education. Others barely finished school. Their personalities, experiences, and careers were all different. Yet despite all those differences, they shared one powerful characteristic, a characteristic that most people never develop. And that's exactly what we're going to uncover today. Because the greatest obstacle to success isn't a lack of money. It isn't a lack of talent. It isn't even failure itself. The greatest obstacle is living without a clear direction. Think about it for a moment. If someone asked you right now exactly what you want your life to look like 5 years from today, could you answer with complete clarity? Not a vague dream, not a hopeful wish, but a clear, specific vision. Most people can't. And according to Napoleon Hill, that's where failure begins. Not when you lose money, not when you make mistakes, but the moment you allow life to decide your future instead of making that decision yourself. By the end of this episode, you'll understand why this single principle became the foundation of every great achievement Hill ever studied. More importantly, you'll discover how it can completely change the direction of your own life. Because once you understand this lesson, you'll never think about success the same way again. The biggest mistake most people make. Here's the mistake that keeps millions of people stuck for years. They confuse movement with progress. Every day they wake up early. They go to work. They answer emails. They solve problems. They stay busy from morning until night. At the end of the day, they're exhausted. But being busy isn't the same as moving closer to your goals. Napoleon Hill believed that many people spend their entire lives climbing a ladder without ever asking if it's leaning against the right wall. That idea is uncomfortable because it forces us to ask a difficult question. Am I building the life I truly want, or simply reacting to whatever life puts in front of me? Most people never stop to think about it. Instead, they wait. They wait for the perfect opportunity. They wait until they have more money, more experience, more confidence, more time. They tell themselves that next year will be different. But next year arrives and nothing changes. The dream remains exactly where it was. Far away, Hill observed this pattern over and over again while studying successful people and those who never reached their potential. The difference wasn't that successful people had fewer problems. They faced rejection, failure, financial setbacks, criticism, and moments when quitting would have been much easier than continuing. The difference was that they refused to let circumstances decide their future. They made that decision themselves. Most people allow circumstances to shape their lives. Successful people shape their circumstances through their decisions. That's a completely different way of thinking, because the moment you stop waiting for life to give you permission, you begin taking responsibility for where you're going. And that changes everything. The first secret of extraordinary achievers. As Napoleon Hill continued interviewing some of the most successful people of his time, he noticed a pattern that appeared again and again. Whenever he asked a simple question, "What do you want?" he never received a vague answer. There was no hesitation, no uncertainty, no confusion. They knew exactly what they wanted to accomplish. They could describe their goals with remarkable clarity. They knew the kind of business they wanted to build, the income they wanted to earn, the impact they wanted to make, the person they wanted to become. That clarity gave every decision a purpose. Now compare that with the average person. Ask them the same question, and you'll often hear something like, "I just want a better life. I want more money. I want to be successful." Those aren't goals. They're wishes. And wishes don't give your mind a destination. Imagine an archer trying to hit a target that's hidden in the fog. No matter how skilled they are, no matter how many arrows they shoot, they'll miss almost every time because they can't clearly see what they're aiming at. Life works the same way. Without a definite purpose, your energy becomes scattered. You work hard, but not in one direction. You stay busy, but not always productive. You make progress, but not necessarily toward the life you truly want. Hill believed that success begins the moment your purpose becomes so clear that every decision can be measured against it. When an opportunity appears, you know whether it moves you closer to your goal or distracts you from it. When a challenge arises, you don't immediately give up because you know why you started. A clear purpose becomes a filter. It eliminates distractions. It strengthens commitment. And it gives meaning to the difficult days that every successful person eventually faces. Because once you know exactly where you're going, it becomes much harder for the world to pull you in the wrong direction. Why most people never follow through. If having a clear goal is so important, why do so many people still fail? Napoleon Hill believed the answer wasn't a lack of ability. It was a lack of commitment. Many people become excited when they discover a new opportunity. They buy the books, watch the videos, make ambitious plans. For a few days, they feel unstoppable. But then reality arrives. The first obstacle appears. A setback, a rejection, an unexpected expense, or simply a result that takes longer than expected. And suddenly, the excitement begins to disappear. That's because excitement is an emotion. Success is a decision. Hill often reminded his readers that successful people don't continue because they always feel motivated. They continue because they've already decided that quitting is no longer an option. Think about the people you admire most. Entrepreneurs, inventors, athletes, leaders. Do you believe they felt inspired every single day? Of course not. There were mornings when they felt tired, days when nothing seemed to work, moments when failure looked inevitable. Yet they kept moving, not because the journey was easy, but because their purpose was stronger than their temporary emotions. This is where most people take the wrong path. They let their feelings determine their actions. If they feel confident, they work. If they feel discouraged, they stop. As a result, their progress depends on emotions that constantly change. Hill taught a different philosophy. Make your decision first. Then let your actions honor that decision, whether you feel like it or not. Because discipline will always take you farther than motivation alone. The people who eventually succeed aren't necessarily the smartest. They're the ones who keep taking the next step long after everyone else has turned back. And that's exactly what separates a passing dream from a life-changing achievement. How to develop a definite purpose. At this point, you may be asking yourself a simple question. How do I develop a definite purpose if I don't have one yet? Napoleon Hill's answer was surprisingly practical. He believed that clarity doesn't appear by accident. It is created through deliberate thought and repeated action. The first step is to stop speaking in general terms. Instead of saying, "I want to be successful," ask yourself, what does success actually look like for me? How much income would allow you to live the life you truly want? What kind of work would make you excited to wake up every morning? Who do you want to become over the next 5 years? The more specific your answers become, the more powerful your purpose becomes. He'll encourage people to write their goals down, not because writing is magical, but because writing forces you to think clearly. A goal that exists only in your mind is easy to change, easy to forget, easy to postpone. A written goal becomes a commitment. Then read it every morning. Read it again before you go to sleep. Over time, your mind begins searching for opportunities that align with that vision. Have you ever noticed how, after deciding to buy a certain car, you suddenly start seeing that same model everywhere? The car didn't suddenly become more popular. Your mind simply became aware of something it had been ignoring. Hill believed your goals work the same way. When your purpose becomes clear, you begin noticing opportunities that were always there, but invisible to an unfocused mind. Your decisions become easier. Your priorities become clearer. Your confidence grows stronger. And little by little, your life begins to move in a different direction. Not because the world changed, but because you did. If there's one lesson to remember from today's episode, let it be this. Success doesn't begin when you earn more money. It doesn't begin when you find the perfect opportunity. And it certainly doesn't begin when everything in your life finally feels easy. Success begins the moment you decide exactly where you're going. That was the first great lesson Napoleon Hill discovered after studying some of the most accomplished people in history. They weren't drifting through life. They weren't waiting for someone to tell them what to do. They had a clear purpose. And every decision they made brought them one step closer to that purpose. Now ask yourself this. Are your daily actions leading you toward the future you want, or simply keeping you busy? It's a question that only you can answer, and your answer may determine where you'll be 5 years from now. Remember, your future isn't created overnight. It's created one decision at a time, one habit at a time, one day at a time. Today, you've learned the foundation, but having a clear purpose is only the beginning, because there's another question that changes everything. What gives someone the strength to keep going when the world tells them to quit? Why do some people refuse to give up even after repeated failures, while others walk away after the very first setback? Napoleon Hill believed the answer was a force more powerful than talent, intelligence, or luck. He called it burning desire, not an ordinary wish, not a passing interest, but a desire so intense that failure becomes temporary and giving up becomes impossible. In the next episode, we'll explore why Hill considered burning desire the starting point of every great achievement, and how you can develop it to transform your own life. Until then, remember this. A person without a purpose may work hard for years and never reach the life they dream of, but a person with a clear purpose has already taken the first step toward extraordinary success. Before you click away, remember this. Most people won't fail because they lack talent. They'll fail because they keep postponing the one decision that could change everything. Don't let that be your story. If today's message made you stop and reflect, don't keep that feeling to yourself. What is the one goal you're no longer willing to postpone? Share it in the comments. I read the comments, and I'd love to know what you're committing to today. Your decision might even inspire someone else to take the first step toward a better future. If you found value in this episode, take just 1 second to hit the like button. It tells YouTube this message matters and helps it reach people who need to hear it. And if you're serious about changing the way you think, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. This is only episode 1. In the next episode, you'll discover why burning desire is a hidden force behind every extraordinary achievement, and why most people give up long before success has a chance to find them. Don't miss it, because one idea can change your thinking. One decision can change your habits. One habit can change your future. And your future doesn't begin someday. It begins today.